Okay, this is in-class practice differentiation number 8. And this one is kind of similar to whatever we've done before as in the algebra part, but they're asking for different information. So it says, at what points does this graph f of x equals x cubed minus 12x have a horizontal tangent line? Find the equation of the tangent lines and sketch the graph. Well, first of all, I'll show you that I actually did this on my graphing calculator. And when you graph this, you can tell, I'm going to bring this up here, you can actually tell by looking at it that it looks like it happens at -2 and at +2 that they have a zero slope here. How you can do that is if you hit Menu, Analyze Graph, and then you hit dy dx, and then just put -2 in and then a 2, it'll tell you the slope here is 0 and the slope here is 0. Then if you hit Menu again and you hit Geometry and Points and Lines, you can hit a tangent and then click right here. It'll tell you the tangent line here and the tangent line here. So you can answer this question, all the work that you'd need to justify this. I don't care if you do this first and you can practice it. So again, they want to know what points does this graph has the horizontal tangent line? We think it's at -2 and 2, and then find the equations, which we did. And it says sketch the graph and the tangent lines. So first of all, we're going to do all the algebra to justify what we think. So we're going to find just the derivative function f prime of x is the limit as h approaches 0. And we're going to use this one again, f prime of x is the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. And remember what I told you, if they don't tell you a certain point, which we think it's -2 and 2, we're actually going to leave the x's and do the derivative function, and then we can figure out later on what the x's were. So I'm going to do this. So I have x plus h cubed minus 12 times x plus h minus, make sure don't forget your parentheses, x cubed minus 12x. And you can stop the video if you want to do this and see if you're right, all over h, because I'm hoping you're getting, the algebra is getting easier for you. Now, I know that this isn't going to be hard because I can do the distributed property here, and I'm going to change the signs here. But this right here, I should do the work somewhere else to figure out what x plus h cubed is. So I've done this a couple times, but I'm going to do x plus h times x plus h. And when I do that, I get x squared plus 2x plus h squared, 2x, excuse me, I'm going too fast here, 2xh plus h squared. And then I'm going to multiply all that by x plus h. So you're going to multiply them all through by x and all through by h. When you do that, you come up with the following. F prime of x equals the limit as h approaches 0 of, and this part right here comes out to be x cubed plus 3x squared h plus 3x h squared plus h cubed. So that's that part right there. And then we're going to subtract the 12x and the 12h because I did the distributive property, and then just subtract x cubed and add the 12x. So I distributed that as well, all over h. Now, if we did this right, remember I told you that things would cancel, and they do. 12x, negative 12x. Thanks for playing. X cubed, negative x cubed. So now I end up with f prime of x is the limit as h approaches 0 of 3x squared plus 3xh plus h cubed minus 12h all over h. And I'm going to factor out the h if I can, but I think I made a mistake here. So it's x cubed plus 3x squared h. I forgot the h here. I said it, but I didn't put it. So let's fix this before we go any further, because it gets all messed up if you don't do it. This should be 3x squared h. My fault. I'm sorry. Okay. So now I got to fix this here. So this is also 3x squared h All right. Now I'm going to go through and actually, is the limit as h approaches 0, factor out the h. And when I do, that's why I was going way too fast. There's my 3x squared plus 3xh plus h squared minus 12. So I made two mistakes there. I apologize. I hope you caught it so that you can do this. So now I'm going to go through. This is all over h. Then I can say, thanks for playing. These cancel out. So now I have, ready, f prime of x is the limit as h approaches 0 of 3x squared plus 3xh plus h squared minus 12. And now I'm going to plug in my 0, 3x squared plus 3x times 0 plus 0 squared minus 12. And that's a 0. And now I get my actual derivative function is f prime of x is the limit as h approaches 0 of 3x squared minus 12. And I shouldn't have said limit because I already plugged it in. Boy, I apologize. 3x squared minus 12. Once I plug it in, I don't write limit. So there is my derivative function. Now I look and say they want us to find what values of x have horizontal tangent lines. Remember, horizontal tangent lines are here. They have a slope of 0. So I'm thinking if I put my this equal to 0, I can find out what that would be. So I do, okay, 3x squared minus 12 equals 0. So I'm going to solve for x when the slopes are 0. I factor out the 3. So I have x squared minus 4 equals 0. Then I factor that some more. 3 times x plus 2 times x minus 2 equals 0. Then I do my big T to solve for this. So 3 will never equal 0, but thanks for helping. X plus 2 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. So x equals negative 2, and x equals 2. And I knew that already because we had already graphed it. Now, the one thing I do want you to do is actually tell me what the point is on the graph. So I know it's negative 2 something and 2 something. Now, you can look at your table to find out what those points are, but you have to show me how did you figure out what those something was for that. So you're going to plug it back into your original function because my function is f of x, which we're going to put the negative 2 in first. F of x equals negative 2 cubed minus 12 times negative 2. Now, when I put that in my calculator, I get f of negative 2, or you can look at your table if you will, but f of negative 2 is 16. So this is the point negative 2, 16. And then I'm going to do f of positive 2. I want to see what my y value for that is. So that's 2 cubed minus 12 times 2. So f of 2 is a negative 16. So there is my point, negative 216 and 216. And if we look at the graph I did, that looks about right, negative 216 and 2 negative 16. So now we found the points where the slope is 0. That's all wonderful. But then they said, could you tell us the tangent lines? Well, I'm like, sure. So I have, ready, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Now here is the deal with this one that makes it so special. We know the slope is going to be 0 for both of them. So if I plug in here for y, we'll say 16, my first point, and I plug in here a negative 2, notice the 0 is going to wipe this whole side out. So you end up getting y equals 16, okay, because that's a negative 16 for my tangent line for there. So here's the tangent line here. And then when I plug in the other point, so I'm going to use the same line formula, the point slope form, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. And I'm going to plug in here the point 2, negative 16. So the 2 goes here. And the negative 16 goes here. So it turns positive, and when I move it over here, and the 0 goes here, so it really wipes this whole side out, so y equals negative 16. So now I know the tangent lines, the formula for the tangent line. So I understand that the 0 wipes it all out, but it's still good to use it to make sure you show the work where you're coming up with that. And now I'm going to do a little sketch of the graph because I give you a whole page, so let's use it. So I'm going to sketch this graph here, and at -2 and at +2, I'm going to say this is my x and my y. And I get this is not to scale, but it's going to kind of look like this. Comes down in the middle, comes up like this. And as you can see, this is my tangent line, y equals 16. And this is my tangent line, y equals -16. And I've sketched everything there. So that's the end of this video. I hope it helps, and I apologize for a couple of those little glitches. So I do apologize for that.